Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Let's go over the risk disclaimer. Trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so in the webinar here, we're going to go through and define what Bookmap is for you, who uses it, how to connect it, how to get it, and then we'll jump into the user interface in the live market and start to define the elements on the chart, what Bookmap is showing you, the advantage that you get, because it's has a unique visualization. Showing something that you usually don't see with your typical charting platforms. Okay, so that's what we'll go over, and we'll define the elements on the Bookmap chart, and start to go over basic order flow understanding and concepts. Okay, so this is the basic education that comes with Bookmap. Well, I mean, for everybody, but there's also a 4-part educational course when you subscribe to Bookmap. So you get access to education of order flow and what Bookmap is showing you. And then every day we have the advanced order flow webinars. So in the live market, you can also see it, same stuff that we cover. And we start to anticipate future price movement based on our analysis. Okay, so that's the two-part or two-prong approach to our education. There's an educational course, and then we cover it in the live market. All right, let's jump into bookmap.com and define what Bookmap is. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit. So what is Bookmap? Well, we're a software trading platform. Okay, we're not a broker, we're not a data provider, we're software. We have a unique way of visualizing the data in the marketplace, and that's our strength. And I'll go over more details as we continue here. Okay, who uses Bookmap? Day traders, scalpers, swing traders, and quants. Really quite a big array that want to understand order flow. What's unique about Bookmap is you're able to understand order flow on the very low time frames for your quant or HFT environment, but you're also able to understand and utilize order flow on much higher time frames, like for your swing traders and your day traders. Okay, let's continue on about the advantage or the edge you're getting. We're going to go over this in the live market. Okay, and then connectivity. Cover this. This is how you connect Bookmap. There are 3 different markets that we connect to: futures, US equities, and digital currencies. Okay, now for the digital currencies, the data is free. Okay, so you don't need a data provider. But for US equities and currencies, futures, you will need to provide the data. Okay, that's an important aspect here. We're just software. Okay, so find a broker or data provider for connecting to US equities and futures. For equities, it's through DX feed. That's the only method right now for connecting for US equities. Okay, so for futures though, it's with Rhythmic, CQG, Gain Capital, Transact, IQ feed, and Nanotick, as well as Cedro for Brazilian markets. Okay, so you can also see there are some trading platforms here listed. You can connect Bookmap via the API of Interactive Brokers, NinjaTrader, and TTXTrader Pro. So you can go that route. If you like, we just recommend connecting directly to the data provider and get a little bit cleaner data than going through the API of someone else. All right. So let me know if you have any questions about connectivity. We'll continue on lower here and go through the Bookmap packages that are available here in the pricing. So you can subscribe yearly here, or you can subscribe monthly by clicking on the link here. Okay, and you'll see there's 2 different versions here for digital and for global. Okay, so the distinction is for digital, those connect to the digital markets. Okay, the digital currencies. For global, it connects to all different markets. Okay, it connects to futures, digital currencies, as well as the US equities. Okay, so now there's a couple different versions for each. Okay, so you can see the digital version over here is free. Okay, so the concept is the digital currency markets are always open, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can always check out a live market, and the data is free. So you can be up and running and looking at a live market in Bookmap in minutes. Okay, so but if you're a equities trader or a futures trader, then well, for equities, there's a delayed data feed there that comes free as well. And for futures, you will have to replay a replay file. Now, that said, if you want to really check out Bookmap, then the cheapest way to do that would be to get the global version here for $49 a month, and you can cancel at any time. Okay, and what this allows you to do is check out Bookmap for the month and connect to futures and US equities. All right, there's actually a new link here. Let's go check that out. Okay. Anyway, so that's the free version. Now the digital plus version, well, big distinction here is that you get only one digital currency with the free version, but you get multiple instruments for the digital plus. You can trade right from the Bookmap chart into your funded GDAX and BitMEX account. You can record and replay your data, and you get multiple instruments. Okay, you also get access to the advanced education and full support. Okay, the global version though connects to futures, U.S. equities, as well as digital currencies. Okay, so that's the big distinction there. The Global Plus version, okay, what's going on here is you get access to all of our add-on indicators. Okay, one is the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart. This is a huge advantage because you have the liquidity heat map in front of you, so you can hide your stops behind high liquidity or front run high liquidity with your entries. Okay. Then our proprietary indicators that we put together that look at order flow, specific related items like the large lot tracker, identifying larger players in the order book, okay? How they might be bullying the order book or creating vacuums in the order book with their very, very high liquidity. Our algo can detect them. Okay, we have some imbalance indicators for both book and volume. We have iceberg tracker here. There's actually two of them. Again, it's looking at larger players and they don't want to show their liquidity. Okay, they're a bit like a poker player here that doesn't want to show their hand and the size that they are trading, so they'll use iceberg orders, but our algo can detect them. And then correlation tracker, adding different markets right onto the Bookmap chart, so different correlations, which has been a fantastic add-on. All right, scroll a little bit down and you can see the blog, some of the other just educational references here. You might want to read some of these. You can also subscribe to our or follow us on Twitter at bookmap_pro. All sorts of information here every day. And then our YouTube channel, I would recommend if you're new here, check out the playlist here on the front page, the intro videos, okay, and then features and components. But what you'll find most helpful, I imagine, are these order flow video snippets, very concise, short videos, just a few minutes long, that go through the concepts of order flow phenomena that Bookmap can visualize and uncover for you. Okay, this is where you're really going to be able to see the advantage that Bookmap's giving you and start to use it to your benefit. Okay, and that's exactly what we do in the order flow live webinars for subscribers. Okay, we go through these concepts in detail here. All right, one more thing I need to show, and that is, and then we'll look at Bookmap. The Bookmap DX feed Bookmap here, there's a webinar this afternoon, so if you are interested, it is at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can click on the link down here, join free webinar, or you can click on the link up here, webinar, come back down, or you can come down and 3 steps away from getting Bookmap here, you can sign up for the webinar on number 2 here. Okay, so yep, here it is, August 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then here's the link here. Okay, so I put this into the chat for you as well, dxfeed.bookmap.com. All right, so we're going to look at the live market. I'll be hosting it, and we'll look at a lot of different things in the stocks. Stocks are fantastic with Bookmap, I think, in my opinion. The larger players really stand out with their very high liquidity compared to retail traders. So the distinctions are even clearer. So anyway, I recommend checking it out if you are interested in trading US equities. All right, let's jump into Bookmap. Okay, we're looking at the NASDAQ E-mini here and see what's going on. Okay, so let's see. All right, well, first thing, if you're new here and you're looking at Bookmap, you're looking at this chart and thinking, wow, this is a lot of noise. This is a little overwhelming. There's a lot going on. Okay, well, we can clarify this very simply. Okay, there's actually only 3 elements on the Bookmap chart. Okay, I'm gonna strip off the add-ons here, and we're gonna just kind of simplify it. We're gonna take off our iceberg, our historical VWAP, our point of control indicator here, and we have a cumulative volume delta subchart here, which I'm also going to close. Okay, all right. So now we've simplified it, and we're looking at basically only 3 elements in the Bookmap chart. Okay, and all 3 of these are very objective elements that really give you insight here to what's going on in the order flow. And I'll demo this by showing you a candlestick chart to begin with. All right, we're looking at a 5-minute candlestick chart. Okay, and Bookmap is in the background here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to strip away everything, these 3 elements on the Bookmap chart, which is best bid and offer, okay, the heat map, which I'll define in a minute, and the volume dots. Okay, so this is the view we're usually accustomed to looking at and accessing. Right, so 5 minutes of data within each candle. Problem is here is that this is aggregated data, and aggregated data is very opaque. Okay, there's only 4 data points here: open, high, low, and close. And that's all you're getting. Okay, what happened in between the last 5-minute period? You have no clue. Okay, there's microstructures in there that lead to bigger moves. Okay, and there's volume that trades on that microstructure that gives you insight to those bigger moves. Okay. As well as that, there's an auction going on, which we have no clue to what's going on, nor the volume. We don't see any of it here. Okay, we just see these open, high, low, and closes with wicks and bodies. Okay, so we can easily start to break that down by just showing best bid and offer. Okay, that's the first element on the Bookmap chart. Okay, so here's our best bid and offer. Let's talk about and define the microstructure. Okay, so it's just like any other structural element, but just on much smaller time frames. Okay, so let's zoom into an area oops, take a look here. Hold on. Okay, I will look at this period here, which isn't bad. In fact, a little bit before. Okay, well, here's microstructures. Okay, the area down here, you can see there's a little structure here that broke, and then it broke down to here, and then actually that did not accept. Price moved out pretty quickly here, back up, and then it consolidated up here in another little structure, and then broke out from that. Okay, up like this here, as you can see. Okay, and then just kind of went sideways for a bit within, structure within structure. In general, there's a bigger structure here. Okay, and then you can also see that we broke out of that. Okay, and you can see it here. Okay, we came back and kind of tested here, but it accepted higher. Okay, so that's microstructure. Okay, and this is very insightful stuff that leads to bigger moves here. Okay, and we can see it clearly in the Bookmap chart. When I'm sorry, when we just break down the candles and just show the best bid and offer. Okay, and seeing if it accepts in these areas or rejects, etc. Okay, now all of that's really not too useful until we really understand what's going on with volume. Okay, for example, if we see a lot of volume that trades up here, okay, then we have that chance for price discovery to the upside. I imagine we're going to see some up here, but probably not a lot up here unless this is turns into a trap. Okay, so let's turn on the volume dots and take a look here. Okay, so that's exactly what I mean. Look at the volume here. Actually, looks actually doesn't look bad, to be honest. The volume really picked up in this area here, and that's what it takes to move outside of a range. Okay, so these green dots, what are these? This is the second element on this chart, is the volume here, the volume dots. Okay, these are transactions of market buys and market sells that took place on that historical best bid and offer. Okay, so let's zoom into this area up here and I'll show you. Okay, and just make this very, very clear and simple. Okay, because the data here is really straightforward. Okay, one is the best offer. That's the red line here. And that's what we're showing. So you can see exactly what was going on in the auction. The green line is the best bid. Now, let's zoom into this little area here. The green dots that you see here, these are market buy orders. Okay, they crossed the spread, they paid up for it, and they took liquidity off of the best offer. Okay, it's the aggressor. It's the aggressor that actually moves price. You can see that the aggressor here moved price down a couple of ticks. Okay, they hit the bid with market sell orders, and then the best bid was down another tick, and someone hit it again and went down another tick. Okay, so it's an ongoing battle here with the aggressor back and forth, and you can see how they're moving price. Okay, so just want to show you that we are very precisely recording all of these transactions. Okay, when we really zoom in here, okay, this is one of the strengths of Bookmap, is the precision, right? And we can use the data tip tool here, hover over, and we can see exactly what traded here. We get the date, the time, and look at the timestamp. Okay, we're down at nanosecond levels, right? We can see what was on the ask here, 16 contracts, and what traded. Actually, so this volume dot here is for a volume of 2. And you can see this cluster of activity here. So here's a bigger green dot, so you can see the reference and size of the dot relates to the size of the volume that traded. Okay, so these are all market buy orders, and it was 13 altogether, a little flurry of activity. Now, we don't trade at those levels, so we zoom back out and we can see that we just visually aggregate that into a bigger dot, okay? But all the data is still there. All right, so that's the volume, and that's the second element on the Bookmap chart. And you can see, look at how they're sweeping the order book. This is one of the important aspects that we go through in the basic order flow education, okay, is understanding these book sweeps here. Okay, they took all of the liquidity. It could be a stop run, doesn't matter. Amount of buyers in here, they overwhelmed the sellers and they just lifted the offer very quickly and took the next price level out and then the next level out. Okay, they traded through all of the liquidity here. Okay, now that leads into the next question. Where's the liquidity? Okay, that's the third element on the Bookmap chart. So we don't know where it is, and this is the advantage you get with Bookmap because, well, I think it's quite advantageous the way we display the volume as well, because you can really see it within structure, right? That's a real nice advantage. Like your footprint chart, you wouldn't really note that for a trending market, this is what you get. Like you get more volume at higher highs like this and price discovery to the upside. You get exhaustion on the sell side here. As you can see, these little points, there's nothing that traded down in these little points down here. Okay, there's no sellers that are interested in taking it lower. they exhaust out, and instead we rotate back up and find even more buyers and more buyers again. Okay, we're breaking out of a microstructure. As you can see this structure here very clearly, right? Well, we can make this one here. This one's is quite nice. I mean, here's the move, okay, and then it stopped up here. Here's the retest right back to where it came from, and here's the breakout from that microstructure. This is how the market functions. Okay, most of the time, this is how you get these pretty quick breaks and sweeps of the order book into a new trading range. This kind of concept in the order flow works on microstructures on up to your monthly charts. It's the same thing. It's all fractal. Okay, so I need to make that point because it's important, and you can see this clearly with the way that we are displaying our volume, and I think that's quite a nice advantage compared to some sort of periodicity of even in a footprint chart. It'll show precisely the volume, but it's not going to show the structure. All right, so that's the beauty here with Bookmap. All right, so now there's a whole nother side that I was just talking about that we just don't see. Where are they trading into? Okay, well, we don't know, we don't know where it might exhaust. Where are they providing liquidity? What's going on in the auction? And that's where the heat map comes in, and that's the third and final element on this Bookmap chart. All right, and let's take off the candlestick chart here. Okay, this is where they're going into. They're hitting into this high liquidity. Okay, now we're starting to understand truly what's going on in the market here. Okay, the heat map is showing high liquidity. We'll come back to this little area here around 1031 in just a minute. Let's go to the current market, and I'm going to show you how the heat map is derived. Okay, so here we are in the current market. This vertical white line divides the historical market to the left and the current market here to the right. Okay, so we can see that this is your current best bid and offer. This number here is your last traded volume. This is your price ladder here. And this COB column, let's define this. This is your liquidity. Okay, this is your DOM, your depth of market. These numbers here represent contracts. Okay, these are sellers at specific price levels with their limit orders. They are providing liquidity in the market, and this is the auction. Okay, and the market need is just a big auction, and this is what it looks like here on the offer. Okay, well, here it is down here on the bid as well. Okay, down below current price. Now look what we're just noticing here as well. There was high liquidity here, it pulled, and it actually flipped to the other side. See, what we're doing in Bookmap is taking the areas of high liquidity here, okay, and we're transforming it into a heat map in this window. Okay, so you can see very high liquidity up here at 74.10, and then also down here at 7,400 and a half, okay, 132 contracts. That's the highest in the book right now by far, and then 7,400 the figure. All right, so understanding the order book is pretty essential to understanding where price might go, how the order or how the auction affects price and the aggressor. We want to know all that information. From your DOM, that's rather difficult because these numbers change and then that information is lost. Okay, that's where Bookmap comes in though, is because we record it. So you'll see like high liquidity here, shift and change. The heat map changes, but it'll flash in this window here. But where it really gets interesting is we take that data then, okay, so if we zoom in, we get a different reference here. And you can see the changes here, flashing in the heat map, okay? So we record it though. So this is what it looks like, okay? This little area here at 03.5, well, they had high liquidity here and they started adding and pulling it. That's what these striations look like here in Bookmap, okay? In this little area here, the adding and pulling of liquidity. That's all it is, okay? So the original question here of Bookmap looking a little overwhelming. Now you understand what the three elements are and what they're displaying. And now we can start to just break it down and simplify it. I mean, at this view here, we're just looking at high liquidity and we're channeling between it right now. Okay, they're on the bid down here at around 7,400 the figure, and they're up here 10 points higher at 7,410, and we're just in the middle of it right now. Okay, these little areas here though start to give us some insight. Okay, there was potential here for this to move back up and test into 7,410. Why is that? Well, there was high liquidity here, but did they have the intent to trade, these guys? Absolutely not. They pulled. Okay, they pulled, and then it actually looks like price, slipped through here by the aggressor. You see the green dots pulling it up, and then they flipped to the other side, one tick below, and provided high liquidity on the bid. Okay, but they pulled as well right here, as you can see. Okay, so it kind of nullifies that effect of potentially coming up here, and what was, very clearly you can see that this microstructure. Okay, putting all of these pieces together, okay, this microstructure here, there's high liquidity up here, it pulls, okay, and we're looking for now another microstructure to maybe trade up into this range here, okay. So now you're starting to understand the effect and how liquidity fits into microstructure, okay, and how the aggressor has the power to move price up outside of structural elements. Okay? Now that was all kind of nullified when they started to pull here because they don't have intent to trade either. All right, so we'll see when they do. And you can see that, look at how the bid is starting to ramp up here. Okay, so now we're starting to come back up. Okay, and these guys are just hanging out here at 74.10. They're not front running. I don't see them getting aggressive here. They're just staying there. Okay, I'm looking for this to trade. Okay, looking for the aggressor to come in here, and I'm looking for maybe a skew in the book, like more liquidity underneath here, and have a new auction start to develop here, and then see if we can get back up into 7,400, 7,410. Okay, now these guys just pulled here, so that we're really kind of choppy here, but looked pretty good there for a second. But then these guys started to pull here in this area. Okay, still might get up there. Well, he's back. So this, we'll have to see if he stays in here. But looking at this 05 area, see how it's tightening that auction up a bit. Now they're not staying though, so we could easily come back down and trade through this area here, and then test 7,400 the figure. We'll note it. We'll see it in the order book. Okay. All right. So now before we get back to that, let's get back into this area here, because I just wanted to define what we saw here. Okay. And understanding high liquidity. Okay. And then here's high liquidity that actually trades and stays in the book. Now, some of it was pulled, but we can see it here, right? See the high liquidity here and see the transactions taking place into it. Okay, and then it starts to take that liquidity away. It's absorbing here the buying pressure, but there was actually more buying pressure, so it traded through. All right, so understanding real liquidity stays in the book. Compared that liquidity that does not have the intent to trade. Okay, and that was in the area we're just looking at in the current market here. Okay, here's our test into 7,400. Now let's see if those guys actually traded. And indeed they did. I mean, here it is, right? 80 contracts traded. Liquidity over here was 88. So some of it pulled. Okay, 8 contracts pulled. The majority traded though. Okay, and that's fact. We know that. Okay, we can use this on much higher time frames now. We can start to see how what was a resistance is now turning into support. Okay, understanding complete picture here of the order flow. Anyway, enough said. If you guys want to check out Bookmap for US equities, here's the link for it in the chat. You might want to register for that webinar. It starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Other than that, I've got to go. It's time for the next webinar. If you're registered, we'll see you there. Okay, take care.